All right, I think we're on. Good morning, Joy class. We're so glad everybody's here this morning. And beautiful day outside, and they say there's a cold front coming. I'll see it when I believe it. I believe it when I see it. But no, they're saying that it's going to be cool. So anyway, page 261. LaVon, you want to come lead us? Where did LaVon go? Where'd LaVon go? She was here just a second ago. Okay, well, let's just go ahead. All right. 261, Wonderful Words of Life.
Do you want Alice to lead?
Yeah, Alice, can you come lead us? Oh.
Okay, y'all sing loud. Ready? Can you see? That's okay, I can't see. Sing them over again to me, wonderful words of life. Let me more of their beauty see, wonderful words of life. Words of life and beauty, teach me faith and duty. Beautiful words, wonderful words, wonderful words of life. Beautiful words, wonderful words, wonderful words of life. Third. Sweetly echo the gospel call, wonderful words of life. Offer pardon and peace to all, wonderful words of life. Jesus, only Savior, sanctified forever. Beautiful words, wonderful words, wonderful words of life. Beautiful words, wonderful words, wonderful words of life.
Thank you, Alice and June. Beautiful music and beautiful singing. Okay, I'm looking at online, and Carol Breen is with us, and she says, Jerry, it's good to see you. So, anyway, announcements, and let me see what the bulletin's got to say. Wait a minute, I need to turn this off because I'm getting feedback. Okay, the ladies' banquet, celebrating generations and for Mother's Day. It's a tea and brunch on Saturday, May the 7th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the fellowship hall. Ladies and girls of all ages are welcome. Sign up in the foyer and go to that. It sounds like it's going to be really nice. I don't think we have any babies to be dedicated unless they're grandbabies. The Annie Armstrong Easter offering, remember that. We have received $3,600 of the $35,000 that we were looking for, so we've gone over. That's wonderful. God is blessing. Okay, the fellowship meal is back April 27th. King Ranch chicken, yum. And the cost is $5 per person or $20 maximum for a family. VBS is coming up. How many of y'all going to work in VBS with me? I don't see no hands.
Everybody jumped up once, didn't
I know, jumped all up at one time. No, I always loved VBS when I was younger and could handle it. Okay, May 1st, mask will no longer be required in the 9 a.m. service. So anyway.
Fire lunch Wednesday. too. The men's power lunch is.
Oh, the men's power lunch.
At 12 Wednesday.
Whew, I didn't see that on here.
The what
Okay.
lunch?
The men's,
Power lunch at noon at Los Padres.
okay, oh yeah, it's on the This Week page, yeah. Okay, yeah, you guys go and enjoy that, that'll be fun. Okay, prayer request, I have one here, from, names just go, Pat. Their friends, the Ron Williams family. Ron passed away on Saturday, so be praying for that family. And McKenna Whitbread, 18-year-old girl. She was shot very close to her heart, and she's Connie Basor's granddaughter, and Connie just said that she's out of surgery, but she's in CCU. Y'all really keep her in your prayers. Such a young girl. I thought at first it might be the one that was on TV this morning that got shot. People playing with guns. But she said she's in Michigan, so it's not the same one. But
Is she related to Connie?
yes, she's a granddaughter.
Or a
Yeah, they're only granddaughter, I believe. So keep them in your prayers and keep her, that God will touch her and keep her safe. We've also got Sally DeWeese is still on the hospital, but she's in Regent Care in Kingwood. Keep Walt and his family on prayer. Janie, keep her in prayer. Carol Breen's friend Peggy Pitts is recovering from a fall. And there are Pat Miller's brother, Richard. And I'm sure there are others on here that may be related to our class that I don't know. So do y'all, anybody here have any requests they want to present? Yes?
This request would be for Mark Hardin. He did a funeral here a while back. He's a former music minister at United City Church. Anyway, his mother-in-law, Bratton, that has suffered with leukemia for 25 years, passed away
Oh.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I'd like to remember the Bratton family. And then her husband, too, has lost an ear and hearing to cancer, and now his eye on that same side of his face is closed.
Okay.
So these people have had tremendous challenges.
Okay.
The Bratton family. Thank you.
Okay, we'll keep them in our prayers. Okay, anyone else?
Wednesday at 5 o'clock, about 5 p.m.
Wednesday at 5? Okay.
Gay. Gay Bratton.
Okay. Yeah. My friend Carla Carlton, some of you might know her. Her aunt passed away.
Her
And
mom's sister or dad?
she didn't say. She just said her aunt. And I haven't been able to talk to her to find out exactly what's going on. But they were preparing for the funeral and getting with family and everything yesterday. So just keep the Carlton family in your prayers. Okay, anyone else? All right, well, let's go to the Lord in prayer. And Brother Jerry, could I ask you to stand and say the prayer for us this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
I would catch you eating, wouldn't I?
That's all right. Got a big call to himself off that. Father in heaven, come to you this morning, thanking you that we can gather as a group, study the Word. Lord, the Word this morning's lesson is Christians don't have to worry about this. They don't need no more warnings or anything else. They prepared for the second coming when they accept Jesus Christ as personal Savior. And thank you for that. We ask you to bless the service, bless the Sunday school lesson this morning. It's in my name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, Lee. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, Jimmy's birthday was yesterday, and we missed singing to him.
He got old.
We didn't even sing to him at the house, but we did take him out to eat, so. Birthday to you, happy birthday to you. God bless you and keep you. Happy birthday to you, and many more.
One other thing I forgot to mention, we've got 20 people here today.
Woohoo!
It's Women's Day. And I had to ask Becky, I said, I know your face, but I can't remember. It's been almost 2 years, girl. She's
Yeah.
been in church, but hasn't
Yes.
been in our class. a
Yes,
little bit.
it's so good to have Becky here and Casey and everybody else. So thank y'all. It's great to have everybody online today. Today's lesson, I was studying it yesterday, and you know, I used to always get so excited about the Lord's coming. You know, always great things, and I was just going through the motions yesterday. So this morning, I thought, okay, I'm going to look at my other Explore the Bible, the commentary. And I got fired up. So I thought, this is really
Microphone problem.
microphone problem. Here, y'all can't hear me?
Not that.
Not that one? Oh, okay. Okay.
Tom, to get us on the air there.
Okay.
If you'll get us on the air.
All righty. See if that worked, huh? Okay. Thank you, Don. All right, so today's lesson is about returning. And Paul's been talking about the returning of Christ. There's a word he uses. No, am I the wrong one? Nope. That's the right one. Okay. It says, who can predict the future? Jimmy, you can predict the future. Okay. What's going to happen?
When I get you mad at me, I'm in trouble.
There you go.
Real wizard there.
No, the smart thing would not to go there, right? We were watching Swamp People yesterday, and they were talking about the older gentleman, the boy's grandpa that was working his. He was saying it's going to rain today, and the boy's like, "Paul, it's not going to rain today." He said, "You know, forecast calls for no % chance to rain today. It's not going to rain." He said, "I'm telling you, it's going to rain." He said, "You see all these flies here and how what they're doing?" And he said, "That means it's going to rain." And he said, "And the air is really clean." He says, "Blue skies up there." He said, "I smell rain. It's going to rain." So, of course, this went on the whole show. How many of you think it rained? Because he knew, even though the weather forecasters didn't, right? I'm not sure. The more, it seems like the more technology we have, the more doctors rely on that, and they don't want to touch you or, get up close and personal when you go to the doctor. They don't really rely on the same old thing. And I'm sure they do. And I'm sure the forecasters, bless their hearts, are just, they can't like being wrong any more than we do. Like them being wrong. But, we can anticipate what's going to happen, but we never know, do we? Anticipate, yes. Arthritis does help anticipate what's going to happen with the rain. Absolutely it does, doesn't it? But who expected COVID? Who knew that was coming and disrupt our world like crazy? It wasn't anything we were thinking of. But it says there are some things coming that we know, we just don't know when, right? And so it says we tend to shape what's going on now by the future, so the future affects our present, and sometimes our present affects how we look at the future. you know, people that thought about computers, you know. Who in the world thought we was going to have a computer on these little bitty phones or watches or whatever? I remember when my first husband started working with computers, he worked in a room about this size that was full of computers because they were big and they had to do it by data punch or whatever it was called at the time, and key punch, and it was just totally different. And a matter of fact, huh?
They have them on their rings now.
Really? I didn't know it. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I could see it either. So I got new glasses and I was so excited, and it's like, what happened?
In '68, I worked in the business office at the telephone company,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a big meeting where the managers had a big meeting, and they came down and told us about being able to call into your oven to turn it on,
Oh.
phones on your wrist. This was in '68, they told us.
Oh man.
We did not believe them.
I'm sure.
This was the Jetsons.
Yeah, exactly.
This wasn't us.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And the guy that was writing this lesson, he said that, you know, he worked where in the late 80s, and they were talking about, you know, the computers coming and what all you'd be able to do with them. And this one guy's like, that's crazy, you know. He said, why would anyone ever need a computer? Not a question we ask today, is it? Sometimes we say, why do we need so many? Excuse me. But this guy was also, he's a professor at one of the theologian colleges. And he said, you know, people today, they carry their laptops to mission fields with all the different versions and everything that they need, rather than what would normally take up a cargo ship container. He said that, you know, during the COVID, they had it all online. There's everything, you know, all the education that you can get online. And he said, you know, thank goodness this guy wasn't correct, but he didn't see the potential of what it could be. And sometimes we do want to just kind of put blinders on, don't we? You know, oh, there's just too much going on, I can't keep up. Well, that's true part of the time. Sometimes I don't want to keep up. But it says it's not just about technology. It says the principle drawn from so many areas of ordinary life should help us better understand the power of Christian hope, what it is that we have to look forward to. So we are in 1 Thessalonians 5, 1 through 3. Okay. I'm going to need a couple of verses looked up. Let's see, let me find them. If someone would look up James 1:17 for me. Who wants to look that up? Okay. Alice. Dodie, would you look up John 12:35 through 36? And Pat, Ephesians 5:8. Okay, we're not getting to that now, but just so y'all can go ahead and be looking it up. Okay. I was telling Jimmy this morning, I said, can you go get my coffee and do this and this and this? And he looks up and he goes, I said, hey, I did my lesson yesterday, but I did it out of the Leader's Guide. And I wasn't excited. And then this morning, I picked up the commentary of the verse by verse. And boy, did I get slapped around. So we're going with that one today. It says, verse 1 says, about the times and seasons. Brothers and sisters, you do not need anything to be written to you. He said, okay, we're talking about the coming of the Lord. And they called this, there's a word, parousia, that was used for that. And it meant the coming. And Paul talked a lot about the parousia and the coming of the Lord. And it says the times and seasons talks about a different thing here. So time was the word chronon, and it means like chronological. It talks about time on a clock and things, you know, chronologically. But seasons, or the word kairon, was talking about a particular moment. Now, if anyone wants to go to New England and see the beautiful fall flowers, when do you go? In the fall. But if you go too early, you might not see them. If you go too late, you might not see them, right? If they could say, if you go, you know, September 29th through October 5th, you will see fall flowers, then you wouldn't even be able to get there because it would be so packed, right? We know about the time, that's the season, right? When that they're going to be beautiful. Here, we never know. Depends. I've seen it as late as Thanksgiving, right? That we have fall flowers or fall colors. So we don't know, but it is the season of when it's going to happen. So that's what they're talking about here. And it says they're kind of roughly synonymous, but they don't really mean the same thing. If you want to know when somebody's coming to visit you, you don't want them to say, oh, I'll be there in the spring. Well, yeah, but, you know, I can't keep my house clean all spring. I need to know when, okay? That's right. You know, I need to know when.
Well, that's what it used to be in our family. When we got planted, then we could leave.
When you got what now?
Planted,
Planted? Okay.
talking about farming.
Yeah, yeah.
But until then,
You couldn't go, right?
we couldn't go nowhere.
That's right.
After planting, there ain't nothing we could do except watch it, wait and watch it grow.
Watch it grow, right.
So
but
when
you
we
had to get it
vacationed,
planted
and
first.
That's where we
Mhm.
went and visited kinfolk.
Right, right. So after I get everything planted, I'll come visit, right?
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Jimmy is talking about he needs to get his garden planted. You know, he's had seeds or plants or something sitting around forever. We finally got the strawberry plants in. But there's just, you know, you can't wait too long because we haven't had any rain. So they, you know, it's all that, you know, I guess we need to call the guy up from Swamp People and see when it's going to rain around here. So we'll know.
So social in this day and age that you better call somebody and see if they're going to be home.
Oh, yeah.
Because Carrie's already asked, when do you plan on coming, Mom?
Uh-huh.
And so that she can work around it.
Right, right.
Because we're just on the go so much that you really don't know.
That's right.
If
You
you're
have to
gonna be home
plan.
or
We
not.
have to plan, don't we? I mean, you know, if we're going on vacation, Kathy's on vacation right now. Especially if you're going to fly, you just can't decide, oh, let's just get up one morning and decide we're going to fly to Michigan or wherever. It just don't work that way. So you have to plan. You got to try to get your cars in advance. You know, we go in less than 2 weeks to Michigan, and I feel like I did all my work back in, you know, March. So now it's like, oh yeah, where's that car rental? and what are we this and what are we that? You know, and we've rented a house and everything. But you have to plan. But there are some things we just don't know, right? I mean, you can plan for when a baby's going to come. But that don't mean it's coming that day, does it? Unless you got to have a C-section and they plan it. And then sometimes even things don't always work out. So we have to plan, we have to know, be prepared, but that doesn't mean it's always going to happen during that time. So Paul's saying here that these people in Thessalonians, they did not need to know when this is all going to happen. He says, y'all don't really need to have anything written to you. You already know the basics. You know Christ is coming again. But he said, it's essential that we live like he's coming again. This focus is more on the application of the truth than the time. The Lord's these verses, the parousia will be a surprise to unbelievers. Well, it's going to be a surprise when it happens to us, but not that it's going to happen, right? But as far as an unbeliever, I think they're going to be totally shocked, because I think if they knew for sure it was coming, they wouldn't be living the way they're living, right? So, it says the brothers and sisters should live in the light of this fact, that we should be aware it's going to happen. We don't know when. Then verse 2 says, for you yourselves know very well that the day of the Lord will come just like a thief in the night. Now, the day of the Lord in the Old Testament talked about Judgment Day. That was going to be Judgment Day, or when God's sovereignty. I'm sorry? Okay. When the day of the Lord is when God's sovereignty will be displayed, especially about judgment. It talks about in Isaiah and Joel, and the prophets talked a lot about that. And then the New Testament uses the day of the Lord to talk about Christ's return and his victory. And it says the coming, or the parousia, refers to the reality of the day of Jesus Christ. Now, they were wanting, and the people, the Jews, before Jesus came, they wanted that Messiah that was going to do away with the Roman Empire. And they looked forward to that day, but when Jesus came, that was not the reason he came. But when he comes this next time, he is going to deal with any and everybody that's an unbeliever. Let's see. The thief in the night. If anybody knew that a thief was coming, I'm pretty sure they'd do a few things differently than what they do today, right? If you knew a thief was coming to your house, what's the first thing you would do? Lock up. Wouldn't you get everybody out of your house? Wouldn't you make sure that everybody in your household or your family wasn't coming over, that they knew that they were prepared, right? We would want to make sure that they're prepared. And this kind of stuck with me, because we know that he's going to come. We don't know when, but we do need to make sure that everybody in our household is ready, and that we can do the things that we need to do. Yes, sir?
I think a lot of people, like my son, he had COVID pneumonia, scared to death he was going to die. And he was in the hospital praying to God that he wouldn't die, he'd get through all this. Well, now he's through it all this, he don't have anything with God now. He don't need God anymore.
Yeah. And he's been on my mind lately, we need to do more, and he's off on weekends now. We need to be doing more to try to get him in church, so, God gives us different situations, and sometimes he makes new things aware to us, right? And we need to be proactive, I guess. I had to apologize to Jimmy today, and I don't do that often, but when I do, it's sincere. But I told him, I said, I've been sitting around the house, I've got so much stuff to do, and I just haven't felt well. I just don't feel like doing it, Pat can relate to that, the way she's been feeling recently. And I thought, it's not about a feeling, Every day I might not feel like a Christian, but every day I'm a Christian, right? It's not always about feelings. And I just need to get up and move. And if I don't get up and move, I'm not going to be moving on vacation. I told Jimmy we have a friend traveling with us, and I said, man, she's going to be surprised when we don't get up and go early, because we've always been early risers, and we're laying around in the morning, and we're like, well, I guess we should go. But, I've never been like that traveling. I'm always ready to go. Let's get out of this house. Let's go do. And I said, I'm excited about going, but I just don't feel it, right? But then sometimes, if we smile and we act like we have energy, sometimes we actually get a little energy, don't we? You know, you ever see couples or anybody, you know, kind of play like they're mad, and then all of a sudden they are kind of mad, right? You know, you say something and you're kind of teasing, and then it kind of starts hitting home. You start arguing. It's like, wait a minute, this all started out as a joke. Well, if we can make ourselves mad, we can make ourselves glad, right? So Peter used the same analogy as the thief in the night to describe the coming of the final judgment. And John used it to stress the need for preparation and diligence. We talked not too long ago about the people that were in the maidens, you know, waiting on the bridegroom and things. And then verse 3 says, when they say peace and security, then sudden destruction will come upon them, like labor pains on a pregnant woman, and they will not escape. When they say, who is they? The non-believers, not the ones in the church, right? That turns our focus outside. Unbelievers think they've got everything under control. I mean, sometimes we think we have everything under control when we don't, but unbelievers don't really know the state that they're in. And it says everything's going to be fine. It says peace refers to a state of harmony, or at least the absence of conflict. This peace is like when, you know, the Jews would say shalom, shalom to one another. And, you know, it's like peace be with you. It's a holistic well-being. But security is safety or stability. And it says peace and security and then sudden destruction. It says people will not feel threatened. They're not going to know that the thief is coming. They're not going to be prepared for him. And it said they may even be complacent. Nothing's going to happen. You know, they've been talking about God coming and been destroying the whole world for ages. It's never happened, except for Noah. But there's really no reason for them to fear that everything's going to be gone in a moment. It says, in the middle of the confidence that everything's okay, sudden destruction will come. And the destruction that Paul talks about was judgment of an individual and of the world as we know it. The old world order will pass away and God will replace it with a new world. And Paul compared it to labor pains. Okay, ladies. And guys that have had kidney stones, because I hear those are as bad as labor pains, right? When I had my first son, it was like nothing. And he was due, I think, on the 11th. And I'm getting bigger, and oh, it was just miserable. So I went to the doctor, and they said, well, if he hasn't come, if you haven't started dilating or anything, then we'll induce labor. So they finally did. I don't remember. Anyway, I was in 13 hours of labor on my back because I couldn't move because he wasn't coming out properly and everything, and it was horrible. I mean, I remember those 13 hours. And it was rough. And then he came out, and then we know that, you know, he had all kind of health problems, you know, from day one just about. So 15 days old, he had to go in the hospital and from dehydration. So, you know, it's like, I almost felt like that pain never ended. Because, I mean, today, he hasn't eaten in days. He's lost like 12, 13 pounds now since like last week because he can't hold anything down. He's been throwing up with diarrhea, and so he did get an injection that will help him keep his medicine down. But that's just always been his problem with this Addison's disease. And so it's, you know, it's always been traumatic anytime he gets ill. But with my daughter, she wasn't coming when she was supposed to either. And my son had been in the hospital, and I was telling the doctor, look, I can't handle this anymore. You better do something, you know. So he said, okay, we'll induce if it don't come out. Well, when they induced, she started coming. She was ready. I had the most intense, they couldn't do anything. They finally gave me an epidural with my son. They were going to do a C-section, but someone was in the operating room, so they couldn't. And they were already doing one, so they gave me an epidural. Well, with Tricia, they didn't have time to give me anything. And I'm in there just screaming. And a friend of mine who I went to church with, she was in there at the same time in a different room. She goes, was that I heard screaming? I'm like, yes, I'm sorry, but I was screaming. She was coming. And so the experiences are not the same, but we know that there is pain involved. And it talks about the labor pains of a pregnant woman. They will not escape. Paul used the word for escape to literally mean run away. And ladies, there's no way you can get away from having that birth, is there? I mean, they're going to come out one way or another. You just can't help it. But unbelievers are not going to be able to avoid God's judgment either. Non-believers who ignore or reject the truth of the gospel will suddenly discover their error. You know, they say, would you rather live like he's coming and be wrong, or live like he's not coming and be wrong? Right? That would be the worst, wouldn't it? It says that the safe and secure world is going to fall apart, and there's going to be no place to hide. You know, we always say, well, it's never too late. At that point, it is too late. Once Jesus comes back, it's too late. It says alertness is required. It says, unlike unbelievers, Christians follow that the day of the Lord is coming. They don't know the timing, but we do know it's a reality. And it means that we who are prepared for the day have an obligation to persevere in the faith and remain alert for him and to tell others. Okay, verses 4 and 5. But you, brothers and sisters, are not in the dark for this day to surprise you like a thief. For you all are children of light and children of the day. We do not belong to the night or the darkness. Now, Paul is just consistently referring to light and darkness, day and night. The brothers and sisters are a stark comparison to the ones that were they, right? The unbelievers he mentioned earlier. He says, you know better. You know what's going to happen. It says God commissioned Paul to go to the Gentiles. And he told him he was to take the gospel to open their eyes so that they may turn from darkness to light and from the power of Satan to God. Believers live in the light. We're not going to know when that thief comes in the night. Right? It's not going to surprise us. It's not going to catch us unaware. Paul assured the Thessalonians that the day would not surprise them because they were all children of light and of the day. Believers are just aware of the light. We have a relationship with it. It exists because, we exist because of the light, right? Christ was the light. He came for us. And it says we have a relationship and a part of the family birthed by the Father of lights. Who looked up James 1:17, please?
And this world is fading away along with everything it craves. But if you do the will of God, you will live forever.
Okay.
And they refer to light as knowledge, right? The knowledge we have.
Yeah. He referred to himself as the light and the Father of light. And what was that last part, Alice?
But if you do the will of God, you will live forever.
Right. If we do the will of God, we'll live forever. This next, Jesus referred to himself as the light, and the people who believe in him become the children of light. I think, who's reading John 12:35 through 36? Now, this has taken place after Lazarus was raised, and it's 6 days before the Passover. Okay, Dodie?
Jesus said to them, "For a little while longer the light is among you. Walk while you have the light, so that darkness will not overtake you. He who walks in the darkness does not know where he goes. While you have the light, believe in the light, so that you may become sons of the light." These things Jesus spoke, and he went away and hid himself from them.
Okay.
I wonder why he hid himself.
Well, this was 6 days before the Passover, so we're not sure if this was he was going to the Garden of Gethsemane or what's happening here. We're not sure with the full context of the verse. But he was reminding them the whole time of the light. What are we told about the light? Are we supposed to let it shine? Don't put it under that bushel, right? Don't let Satan blow it out. We're to be the light. And recently I have just been feeling I have a problem with depression. I've had it for years and years and years. And so I was on a medication for a long time, and it worked, and then all of a sudden it quit working. So I've been on a new medication for several years now, and several months back, it was upped. Well, I was taking one pill of 20, and they upped it by 10. Well, then it was like, okay, then I was taking 2 pills. Then I couldn't get the 1, and I could get the 10, but I couldn't get the 20. So then I'm having to take 2 of the 10s just to make up the 20. And I still wasn't getting more than I needed. So it's been like months now that I've been on the old dosage, and I really need that new dosage. And I've just been down. I mean, really, there's no other way to describe it. You just get down. It's that chemical imbalance, that we have, and, I just do, I function, but I don't function well. You can look at my house and see that. And, just not the outgoing, lively person I normally am. And this morning when I was reading all this, God just spoke to me and said, it's not that I don't need the medicine, but I don't need to rely on the medicine. He has given me what I need. He has given me the light. And I need to quite trying to stay in the, dark. I don't want to go out to where it's light.
But he's given you the knowledge that you need that medication.
Yes.
So you need it.
Yes.
It's not instead of. In other words, he's made you aware that that's what you need.
Yes. Yes. I do need it. And unfortunately, it shows that I got it back on March 20-something for 90 days. And I should have that little 10 pill somewhere. And I still can't find it. So now I can find them at 20s. But at least I got the 20s. But I think what God was telling me was sometimes we just can't sit and wallow in it, right? We have got to get up. And I am not doing the things I need to be doing. I'm not out walking. I'm not getting outside. There used to not be a day that passed that we were not sitting outside on that front porch in the morning drinking our coffee. I can't tell you when the last time is that we've done that now. We just got out of the habit. Why? I love the birds singing. I love going out seeing the sun come up. Why are we not doing those things that help me get my day started? You know, sometimes we just get in these funks and we quit doing the things that we know we need to be doing. And so for me, I was going to tell y'all at the beginning, y'all can all go home if y'all want to, because this is for me. I'm the one that needs this today.
You know, Susan, I truly believe, or it could be a fact, but you have to be, I can talk more. Oh, forgot what you were saying as well. Anyway, that you have to be outside. Your body needs to be exposed to light.
Yes,
Not
yes.
inside light, but outside light.
Right.
On a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And if you sit inside your house day after day after day, which is what I was doing
Yes.
before I came back, I didn't particularly care to get dressed and go anywhere.
Right.
So I just stayed in the house, and I
Right.
live in a box.
Mm.
I don't live in a much.
Yeah.
And so that's all I did.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that you, or maybe it's a fact, a medical fact, but your body needs light.
Right.
And in order to get that light, you have to go outside.
Right. That's very true. And we also need the light of Jesus every day, right? Not just on Sundays when we show up here, you know. And it needs to be that every day. I told Jimmy, I said, I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what I'm going to have to do, but somehow I have got to make that my priority, is getting in the Word every day and spending quiet time with the Lord. And I've been working on it, but not working as a priority. You know, it's kind of like working on my house. It's not a priority. Trust me, you know. So, you know, that's why to me this lesson is so important. It's about to get ready for the coming. We have to get ready for it now. Now is when we need to be looking at those around us. Now is when we need to be sharing the Word. Now, because like I said, when he comes, it's too late. We need to be doing all these things now. We need to be taking care of ourselves now, or we're not going to be having the ability to do it in a year or so. So, I don't know, but thank you, Lord, for waking me up. And thank you for this book that I also had that could help speak to
Those things, you think of the airplane, the oxygen coming down and you putting it over your nose or
Right.
mouth, wherever it goes, before you take care of the children. We are Christians. We believe in Christ. We have the Holy Spirit. We have got to, like you said, get in the Word, nourish ourselves.
Right.
How can we witness to our brothers and sisters that are lost? They're not going to listen to us.
Right.
If we are down, if we have all these problems and we're moaning and groaning, why would they listen to us? We're not a good example.
Exactly.
I think it's very important, especially in these times,
Yes.
that we are doing what He has told us to. That's the good thing about our Bible. It's our instruction manual. It tells us what we need to do.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's all right here, you know. It's all right here. Just like what we're supposed to eat and not eat, you know. We don't talk about Bruno and we don't talk about not eating, right?
You know, we have a forgiving Lord. He forgives us, and I don't think it's good to worry a great deal about things like that, because, you know, I always feel that we have a forgiving God, and He knows how we feel, and if we don't measure up to what we think we should, He's forgiven, and I think there's a comfort to that you always
Yes.
can feel good that He's forgiven, and He don't expect no more out of you than you can do. And,
That's true. That's true. But he also doesn't expect us to stay there.
well, you know, you don't want to beat yourself up. You know,
Yeah.
you just always remember the Lord forgives you. You know, that's what I was going to say a while ago about thinking about somebody's salvation. We have to be slow about that, because unless you walk in somebody's shoes, you don't know what they deal with. And you may look at their life and say, oh, they're not living a Christian life. Well, you're not walking in their shoes. You don't
That's
know
right.
what feelings they have. You don't have the
That's right.
feelings they have, you know.
Yeah.
And so, and that's like, I'm sure David's friends or people that were around David at the time, he was having an affair and he was having her husband set up to be killed.
Uh-huh.
They would have said he's going to hell for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely, he is going to hell. That would be their opinion of him.
Right.
So we have to be careful not getting that same trap.
Yeah.
But we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody
We are.
you think is not living right.
Right.
They might be living better than yourself.
I know. We are not to judge
so always
others.
be aware of that.
Right. That's right. It says don't worry about the speck in your brother's eye, as long as you got the beam in your own. Right.
That's
Yeah.
like me. I always thought I never had a problem with on alcohol, but I do on food.
Yeah.
I'm like so I compare myself to an alcoholic and a drug addict. I eat food I shouldn't eat.
Yeah.
So I said, well, why do you eat that? Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like a guy drinking too much. He don't
Yeah.
know.
Wow.
Or a guy taking drugs. He don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
But when you have it in your system to crave it, it's a demon to deal with.
It is. Sweets are, man, once I get on sweets, I have a horrible time. And any of these holidays, you know, with the Easter, I can't have chocolate, but I love Reese's Pieces, and they make these big old eggs during. I can't tell you the number of those stupid things I ate. And they make me sick. You know, it's like, what's the appeal here? I don't know. So anyway, I got a bunch of Peeps I need to bring to the pantry. Give it to the kids as they come in, you know.
You know, I was driving to pick her up this morning, and I said, God, you know, the things that I've asked for that you have granted me graciously in my life, thank you for all of that. But the one thing that I begged for, you've never given it to me, and that's to stop eating. You know, I mean, to lose weight or to get out of this body, this fat body, into a nice thinner body.
Yeah.
And I beg for. I have every day. I say, God, please let me lose weight, please. And so He hasn't given me that for whatever reason.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, you know. So I believe in plan. I believe that God plans everything, and there is a plan for me. And this is my plan, or this is His plan for me.
Yeah.
Right now, it may change tomorrow. I don't know that.
Yeah.
But I feel like whatever He wants right now is where I have to accept it and be gracious unto Him.
Yeah. I'll tell you what a doctor told me one time, Diane. I have a very bad back. I lifted 80 pounds of sacrete for 4 or 5 years when I was working in a warehouse one time. And it's just all up and down my back. And I took a pretty bad fall one time, and my doctor told me, he said, it's a good thing you have that body of fat around you, or this would have been a much more traumatic injury or fall had I not. He said, now I'm not saying it's good for your body elsewise, but for that, it was a good thing. I do. I bounce great, I'm telling you. So sometimes, you never know.
If it doesn't hurt you getting around, it doesn't hurt your life, we should accept our body, because a person has a body weight that they have, and, you could wreck your life with pills and dieting, and what kind of life is that? A person don't want to go through life starving yourself and just hate to wake up in the morning because I'm just starving every day. That's not
Amen.
we're not in a contest. We just live our life. I tell her that frequently. We're not running pretty bad.
Okay. Well, we're running out of time this morning. All righty. So we're talking about children of the light do not belong to the night or the darkness. Let's see. Okay, let us go to somebody had another verse. Okay, I don't think I'm to that one yet. I don't see it. All right, so verse 6 says, "So then let us not sleep like the rest, but let us stay awake and be self-controlled." There's that self-control word, right? We're not to sleep like the rest, and I guess that's a good thing because Jimmy and I are both like, "Well, how'd you sleep last night?" "Well, I was up between here and then, and that and this, and and everything." I think as we get older, we just don't sleep like we used to.
Sure don't.
No. But Paul urged believers to stay awake, at least in the Word, and to be in that state of readiness and wakefulness. And it says, expect the arrival of the thief. Be self-controlled as we await their coming. It talks about sober rather than drunk. Story. But as a sober person, it's just the opposite. We need to behave reasonably, understanding the consequences of our actions. So those stupid candies that I ate, I should know what they were going to do to me. Says, verse 7 says, "For those who sleep, sleep at night, and those who get drunk at night." Says sleepers are unprepared for the day of the Lord. Drunkards move around blindly and can't anticipate the day of judgment. Both associated with the night. You hear about, I remember somebody saying, or telling their grandkids or whatever, I think. But since we belong to the day, let us be self-controlled and put on the armor of faith and love and a helmet of hope and salvation. Now we know that Paul goes into greater depth in this in Ephesians when he talks about self-control and the breastplate of righteousness.